Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm actually gonna go run errands, so excuse my hair, excuse my non-makeup face. Today I just actually wanted to make some time to talk about a certain topic that happened to me, and I just kind of wanted to share my experiences with it and how I overcame it and everything. So today I'm going to be talking about Bell's palsy. Many of you know or have heard of it. It actually happened to me about, I want to say, like a little bit more than 2 months or so. And it's the worst thing you can ever go through. Well, not the worst, but it's actually a very, very tough thing to go through. So I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about the story, how it happened, and everything. And well, actually, the night before, I went to my mom's house, and I remember telling my mom and my husband that I kind of felt a little tingling on my face. Previous history to this was about I want to say maybe 2 weeks or so. I was in and out of a cough. Like I had sore throat. I had like a runny nose. I had somewhat fever, not really too much of it. I then remember this like right here behind my ear being like a little really like actually really tender. And I remember like trying to massage it, but it's still like, it started giving me a little bit of migraines and things like that. It eventually got to the point where I started hearing my ears throbbing like really loud where I can hear them. And I didn't pay no mind to it. I got out of the cough, and I remember I had really sore throat, so I actually went to the store and bought this, which is kind of like to numb out your throat and things like that, so it can like ease the pain and things like that, which did help. And this is one of the reasons why I thought it happened to me, because I had used this product, but it turns out that it had nothing to do with that. So then I then went to my mother's house again, like I was saying, and I remember telling them that it was tingly. My face started feeling like a little numb. It was little bit of cold outside. It wasn't, dramatic to where like, the temperatures were that bad. But I remember we came home from there, and I told my husband, we were laying in bed, and I told him, I have this really strong gut feeling that like something is going to happen to me. And I remember him laughing at me, because I was like, I don't know if this is how people feel when they're about to die or something, but I just feel this really bad gut feeling that something's about to happen to me. And he was like, of course, hey, don't pay no mind to it. Let's just go to sleep. Let's see how you wake up in the morning and how you feel. Great. We fell asleep and everything. Well, the next morning, typically he goes in and gives me a goodbye kiss before he goes to work every morning. And he usually, of course, says, I love you, and I tell him I love you back. And I remember this specific morning, I couldn't say it. Like, I was more into my sleep, but I just, even if I tried to say it, like, I was just mumbling it, which I thought came from me being, still halfway asleep. So he didn't pay really no mind to it. He left. When he left to work, I actually remember having like, I had like congestion and everything. So I remember turning over to the side and like trying to cough up all the like, all the mucus in my, and like congestion in my chest and stuff. And I remember trying to spit, and it like literally went all like on the side of my mouth, and I'm like, oh whoa, I was like, well, how did this, why is this happening? So I immediately woke up. I felt like my face was a little bit swollen. I figured it was because I had just woken up, So So then I went to the restroom, I washed up my face and everything, and when I look up to the mirror, I tried to make a facial expression, and that is where it all started. Like, I remember it like it was just yesterday, like looking into the mirror and like being able to like do this, and this whole part would like not move, like not respond for anything. Like, it was the scariest moment ever, because to feel like something is not working when you're telling it to work, and it just like you're just kind of like in shock. Well, that's what it was. And I was literally, I remember doing facial expressions like this and like weird expressions just to get my face to move, and I would like you move it and it just feel kind of tender and sore. um I remember calling little bit after that. I remember calling my mother-in-law and my father-in-law and asked them if they would take me to the ER, um, and because my husband was at work. Um, I then, I called my husband and told him that, my mother-in-law and father-in-law were going to take me to the hospital. So he came home and he was like, no, I'm going to take you. So he ended up taking me. While we were at the hospital, I could barely talk. I remember talking and my whole face, I guess because this side was like not responding, which in the camera, this is probably my left side, but it's actually my right side. So I remember talking to them, trying to explain what was wrong with me and things like that, and everything that had been going on before and everything. And I literally remember my face, like every time I spoke, it would like pull, because I guess like, so it made, I guess this part, because it was irresponsive, it pulled like even more. So when I would speak, like my lip, I remember like being like more this way, like, so when I would talk, like it'd go like, so, and if I smiled, I would smile like this, and this part would like smile even higher, like it just felt weird. I had to like try to cover my my mouth, because I felt like I didn't, obviously you feel like uncomfortable and things like that, because this is something new to you, things like that. So they ended up telling me that I did have Bell's palsy. They actually told me to go to a doctor, but I actually didn't have insurance at the time. And so what I did was that my father-in-law found out. Well, my father-in-law had a friend down the street, and he actually had a stroke, and he had like a full recovery, like a fast recovery. So my father-in-law spoke to him, and he was like, hey, this happened. So the guy is like, okay, well, I went to this lady, and she actually like helped me a lot. She's like, she kind of specializes in things like that, and like gave my father-in-law the phone number. We called her. I'm actually in the Houston area. If any of you guys are ever in the Houston area, I'll be more than likely to give you her phone number or her information. She's really good. The night before, whenever he got the phone number and gave it to us, I was down. Like, my self-esteem came down. Everything, like, I just felt like the black sheep. Like, I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to talk. And this was like the first or second day. I just felt kind of like depressed. I didn't want nobody to see me. And even though my husband was very supportive, I was still very confused and like not in denial, but I didn't really like want to accept it at the time. So then I to feel more comfortable, they said, I couldn't, my eye would cry a lot. It would get really, really watery. And the reason being, it was because it actually wasn't shutting all the way, to cleanse the eye enough. So my eye would just get really dry because it was open all the time. So it would just like cry to lubricate itself, basically. So it was constantly, I was constantly wiping it and all. And I remember it stayed open at night, so I'd have to find a way to shut it, to shut it closed. Um, so I actually bought this eye patch, which I bought at CVS for I think maybe like $3 or so. Um, and I actually had to sleep with this on. It does help because of like the resistance behind your head and everything. It does keep it in place. But I felt like with this, it wasn't still closing enough all the way. So my sister bought me these patches, which are they're like little eye patches. These are for kids. I didn't want something too big. Um, it's about this size or so. It's not really that big. But it helped a lot more. But because it is like a band-aid, it is kind of like a band-aid kind of thing. I felt when I did take it off in the morning and my eye was like really, really like stuck to each other and things like that before I would take it off, it was actually like pulling really, really hard on it. And so I felt like I didn't want to feel that pulling of it. So I actually then started using medical tape, which wasn't as tacky, but it closed it enough. So I would just put it like, and then tape it, and then I would put the eye patch. So then I would sleep through the night and everything. I'm supposed to be doing exercises within this time, doing facial expressions, doing facial exercises that they recommend you to do and all. And I wasn't wanting anything of it. Like I didn't want anything of it. I didn't want to do the exercises. Like again, I didn't feel like I wanted to. I felt like depressed. I didn't want to like even see my husband at the time, which wasn't his fault, but it was just the way I was feeling. So from the first day we came home from the hospital, we started looking up YouTube and started looking up exercises to do, massages to do on the face and things like that. And my husband every night started putting like, it was like a week in before, that happened. I mean, it was a week within that time period that I had to actually wait until I had my appointment with the lady that took care of me. So within that week, my husband started giving me massages on my face. We actually used baby lotion, like a lavender baby lotion, to help me sleep and stuff like that too. And he would apply it on my face and massage it every night for at least, I want to say like maybe 20-30 minutes or so. And it was really tender, even though it felt good in a weird way. But when he would get to like certain parts, it felt really, really tender. So it went on like that. Like a day before or so, I felt my face like really, really sensitive. It was like sensitive to the touch. Just in general, I felt like if when you do a lot of squats and your legs hurt like the day after or so, the exact same thing is just on your face. The lady that was gonna take care of me mentioned that it's gonna be uncomfortable, where it's gonna be sore. I was supposed to have a couple of sessions, and I was gonna be really sore to the point where I probably was gonna want her to remove her hands off my face. So I imagined the worst. But because I had already experienced it with my husband massaging it every day before I went to go see her, which is what she didn't explain to me, that's why it would be sore like that, because all the movement in the face and the muscles being sore and everything. So when we went, she did she put hot rocks on my face, and then she massaged it with some oils. She showed my husband how to massage it since he was the one doing it. And within that week before I went with her, I made a big recovery. Like, I mean, a big recovery. She saw me and she's like, you do not look like as bad as this usually gets. And I'm like, my husband's actually been doing the massages every day. So after going to the session, I only needed one session because she was the one showing my husband how to do it. She gave me these shots because, again, I didn't have insurance. It was in a box like this. She got it from like her hometown or whatnot. But it's 3 of them. As you can tell, the first 2 I used. She usually recommends to use all 3, which has a needle separate, but this is what it looks like. So it's a clear liquid right here, and then it has a red liquid, and they inject this into your, not your butt, but you know, the muscle above it, which stings because from what my aunt told me, this is some kind of like oil. This is actually B12, if I'm not mistaken. This is what she told me, that this is like a B12 injection. And it helped. I don't know how to explain on how it helped. I just know it did. Then she gave me these pills that she got again from her hometown. They're called, I don't know how I can pronounce these. It's 35 pills. It's called acid clover or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but typically they use them with HIV patients, if I'm not mistaken, to help treatment or things like that. Because they did mention that a lot of times patients with HIV get this kind of thing. Some pregnant women get it, and the reason I got it was due to my cold, and this muscle right here, well, this nerve right here actually got swollen, and it interacted with these muscles, and that's what caused it to make my face numb. So again, she gave me those so it can treat it. But she mentioned that she got them because sometimes the face plays tricks on you. Like, she can, if one side of your face is the one that you're having the problem with, and then you're done with your sessions and whatnot, and it gets better. Later on in time, it can jump to the other side because she's seen it happen before. So that's what we wanted to avoid. And there were some really strong pills. There were 400 milligrams, and she said that she wanted me to take 5 of them, 4 to 5 a day, with food, because they were really, really strong. That helped too. She did a really good job, with what she did. I literally, like, within those week after I got the sessions, I was constantly getting, like, better. Every day I saw something different. And mind you, I still wasn't doing the exercises and things like that because I was really accepting the fact that I was going to be like that already, basically. And which is not something to do, but at the moment I was. So this is what I look like now. I have my full functions of my mouth, of my cheeks. Like, I wasn't able to do that before. My nose, my eyebrows, full functions of everything. I have not had any problems since then. Nothing whatsoever. All I want to make this video for is actually to let everybody know that it is something tough to go through, but as long as you have some kind of support, you should be wanting to get yourself better. You should do the exercises. If I got better in a week or two, they said typically you weren't supposed to get better within, the soonest was going to be 3 to 6 months. And that's if it went away. So 2 weeks was actually a really fast recovery compared to what they were telling me it was going to take. And all I want to say is keep faith. Don't get depressed. Try to get yourself up, and as down as you're feeling, try to do the best. Try to pump yourself up. If possible, have someone to massage your face at night. I'll later on make a video on exactly what exercises we did. It was really, really basic, but it helped, and it helps a lot. One thing I did forget to mention was after the first session that I had with the lady, I actually had to drink ginger tea. I actually cut the ginger, let it boil, and drank it, like that, with no sugar, no nothing. It was the most disgusting thing I drunk, but what it actually did was it helped the blood flow. So when she massaged my face and everything, and I drank the tea that night, it was actually, I could feel tingling in my face again. Like, I did feel the blood flow go through it, which I didn't know it helped with, but for me it did. So again, I'm not a doctor. This is just from my own personal experience. So all I want to say is good luck. If you need any support, or if you want to ask any questions, just ask me the questions down below. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the massage video. Thanks.